The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome back to Am I Mental? A live podcast where real people share stories about how mental health impacts life and how life impacts mental health. I'm your host, E. With us, as always, is our co-host, Bexy.
Hello, everyone.
And C is out tonight. He's been falling asleep a little earlier lately, and that's okay. We're not going to begrudge that. Holidays are rough, man. You know, Bexy's been out for a bit, and yeah, I'm the only the only part that's been consistent right now, but that might change too. So back with us tonight is S. If you go back to Season 2, Episode 9, you might remember S having been a victim of predatory adoption agency bullshit. So welcome back, S.
Hi. I think we can go by my name now since I went pretty public last year.
Yeah, you kind of went into, Time Magazine, BBC Radio. I mean, you're kind of known now. And there were pictures, too, in the article.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure everybody would feel like that, though.
So you went from talking about it basically just on TikTok that I could see to now the whole world knows.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild, honestly. It's been a really weird experience for me because it's just like my day-to-day life is still the same, so it can be...
Oh, you just went on mute.
Oh, that was weird.
So your day-to-day is still the same and then cut off.
Oh, my day-to-day is still the same, but, every once in a while it can be kind of jarring to just, realize, how many people have actually seen my Time article and stuff.
Yeah, so, do you have a link to it? I can just drop it in the chat here and also put it up on our Discord.
That'll take me a minute, but I'll find one for you.
Okay. You know what? Hey, Bexy, I got you a homework assignment. Go find that article. If anyone can find it, Bexy's good at it, so...
Just Google my name now, and, it comes up, and, a bunch of other articles came up citing it, which was the weirdest experience, I used to Google my name, just randomly to see what stupid Facebook stuff would come up. And now it's just news articles for 2 or 3 pages.
Wow. Dropping the link right now.
Yep, there it is. So yeah, it's really awesome that your story is bringing to light a very serious issue.
Yeah, and there's so many more people who refuse to talk, that I reached out to during all this process, who were just too afraid of the repercussions from usually the adoptive parents or even the agencies about speaking out, that we're just so worried about it. And now I've noticed, more and more on TikTok, there's more and more just people just in their day-to-day just talking about it. Every day now, it seems like there's a lot more debate about it going on.
Good. And hopefully that'll help to make change. Because, it's kind of like the whole thing is that there's the evangelical stage where you stand on the soapbox screaming your story, and people kind of give you stink eyes they walk by. But eventually people start listening. And it sounds like this issue is starting to go from evangelical to now people are taking it seriously.
Yeah, it's starting to affect everyone, and it's in the age of social media and technology. There's no way to hide, where you came from anymore, and it's really easy to find that out nowadays. So I think that's really put a big booster on the brakes of adoption industries, because there's no longer anonymity.
Uh-oh, we might have frozen.
Oh
yeah, we are definitely frozen.
Oh, we are frozen. Well, that's okay. I found the article. I've dropped it into the chat. While I have a minute, I've been texting with Missy, and she wants everyone to know that she wishes you all happy holidays and happy new year. And she's been sick, and she misses all of us, but she'll hopefully be back soon.
And we're back.
My internet. None of the kids are even home, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe just it's wet in California, so all of the technology is going to act up.
Yeah, actually, in Northern California, depending on your provider, because some of them are really, really awful, water is an issue because it does get into the lines, especially in Northern California. Like, they put in, like, the cheapest freaking internet stuff that they can up there. Just as an example, like AT&T's Uverse, Northern California is still on the early beta version of the hardware.
That's so crazy.
They don't have enough customers to justify upgrading. But part of the reason why they don't have that many customers is because it's bad. If they would upgrade, they might get more customers. It's that whole chicken and the egg thing again. So, anything you wanted to talk about with this whole thing?
Well, I usually don't start. Usually people ask me questions. I can't. I don't really know where to start from last time. I thought, I explained so much of it, and now, it's my situation is pretty much the same. It's just gotten a lot of attention, and things are a little different. I think it's. Remember like 5-10 years ago when there was like a huge circumcision debate explosion on the internet? Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Okay, I started to become kind of like that.
There was like just two camps, and there was no in between.
Yeah,
if you were a fence sitter, both sides tried to tear you down.
Yeah, it was. So I think it's kind of becoming like that, like a people are taking sides, and it's getting to be like a hot topic debate, which is exactly what we want, Right.
I mean, if it's just kind of like a meh debate, then nothing changes.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing really changed with the whole circumcision thing other than people got really pissed at each other. But that's a little bit different, too, because, I mean, both sides have merit, I will say that. I get both sides of it. I do. And both sides have merit, and I think that's why it's not really going to change much, is because it's not like one side's clearly in the wrong.
Yeah. With this, I think with the adoption issues, I think it's becoming like there's clearly some, it's easier to debate for, I think, because there's clearly some places that are so obviously in the wrong in the way they practice.
Yeah, this one that's pretty clear cut. There is a definite wrong. Because, I mean, adoption, you shouldn't be pressured like you were to give up your child. Right, and there's people coming out. There's so many women now that are talking about it on TikTok a lot, I've seen, but and Instagram, and it's actually becoming a hot topic, especially with the new laws regarding abortion and all that. That plays into some of the adoption laws that get created, is the politics of that, and this kind of collide somewhere along lines, and adoptees are, and myself included, birth mothers usually trying to scream like this isn't a equivalency, but it does lead into some common ground where the morals of it are questioned, and it gets people talking about adoption, instead of just avoiding it, because it used to be so taboo to even talk about your own adoption to your own parents. Right. And now it's becoming more and more talked about. It's like, I know some people that were adopted, but I mean, they really didn't talk much about it. And I don't know what the conditions were. It's like, with those friends, because they're just like, yeah, I was adopted. Well, were you given up because of X reason or Y reason? Like,
Yeah. Either they're like, I don't know, or they're just like, I don't want to talk about it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of adoptees in my face-to-face life. I just talk to a lot of people on the internet, a lot of groups and platforms that I try to connect with people that understand or want to understand anyways.
Right. So, have the adoption agency that you dealt with, I'll put it that way, has there been any backlash?
So when they did the Time article, it took them more than a year, I think, from the time that they started writing it to publication because of all of the legal issues that were present.
Uh-oh. Wow.
We froze again.
It froze again, yep. But can we just say that she's totes adorbs?
Oh, completely. Just adore her.
And yes, she's my cousin, so. And not the Alabama style.
No.
There. Okay, we're back again. But muted.
Oh my God. Where did I get cut off this time?
So we got to the point where it took more than a year from the start of the article to the publication because there were
there was a lot of legal hoops that certain people had to jump through to get it published, for fear of defamation suits, I think, is my suspect. I obviously can't say anything for sure or anything, but
right.
I was heard through the grapevine that there was a lot of lawyers involved in the publication of the Time article.
Well,
I'm not sure.
You got to figure Time probably has a very large legal department because they break a lot of shit, as far as stories go. So that those lawyers are used to sluicing out what they can and can't say.
Yeah, and they took a while to get it even done. So that was interesting. But when I spoke with the woman on BBC Radio, that was 5 days or something like that. We recorded and she edited that and she published it in a week, less than a week, I think. I'd have to look at my calendar, but it was really fast in comparison. And I was like, dang, radio must be easier to.
Well, that depends. Were they after the Time article came out?
Yeah.
They're just following what the lawyers on the Time did. Well, Time was allowed to publish this, so let's just stay within the scope of what Time published and we're fine.
Right.
Also, they're international, so they probably don't get held to the same laws.
Right. They just don't care. No, they probably have some sort of... Because she was in the UK, so...
Yeah.
I don't even know if that counts as being recorded in the US.
Right? Yeah. Technology makes things kind of funny. We had an episode where we had someone in Ireland. Was that done in Ireland or here?
An excellent question. Both, I guess. Yeah, it's been odd though, going through all this articles and then, having more and more people start to cite the Time article as a source, and I just hope we can get more.
Oh, you got muted again.
Why? Probably because my kids use this computer.
Oh, it probably has viruses.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely got Google Classroom.
Like I said, it has... No, I'm just kidding. I have used Google Classroom because the homeschooling during the pandemic. There's got to be a better solution out there. It's not horrible, but it's not great.
we just gave up on the internet schooling. We go to regular school, and that's about how my kids can handle.
As soon as schools opened up here, we were like, "Yep, you're going back."
Yeah, my kids love school, so.
So yeah.
Anyways.
So have you had people reaching out to you over this?
I did have somebody reach out to me that I've had a couple people, just like reach out to me and talk to me and, and offer their support. And then I had one woman reach out to me and invite me to the groups that are brainstorming with her the new adoption bill that they're putting through to Congress. So the woman that invited me to the group is a woman that helped write the 1997 Safe Families Act that's already put through Congress. So she's invited me to the group that's, I would guess, outlining the next bill. And I didn't get to go to their last meeting because it was super short notice and it was Christmas time and all that. So, but I'm going to start doing that this year. I'm going to start going to their meetings and see what all it entails and, maybe someday go to Congress with them.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, wow.
I have friends and family over in that area that might be able to help you out if it comes down to it. Like, seriously.
I can't quite remember where she, what state it is at the top of my head right now, because everything's been so wild with Christmas and kids and New Year's. And, we have one of my kids has extra Christmases and all that. So I'm like a little can't wait for the new year.
Right. So, I will say that I do have, someone that I know very well that's over in Maryland, and they go to DC for the 4th of July every year. So yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I know some people that can, at least at the very minimum, help show you around.
Right. That's pretty cool. I've actually never, I've only been off the West Coast once, and that was to go to Texas. And I went to a military base for a week, and that was it. So that'd be pretty exciting for me.
Yeah, let's see. I've actually been to the East Coast once, New York. It was a trip. Let me tell you, jet lag is for real. They're like, yeah, we get up at 6 we start at 6 in the morning, and I'm like, 6. That's like 3 a.m. my time. Dear God. Falling asleep was not easy, and man, waking up was even harder that day.
Right. Oh man.
So I got a question for you. Say this takes off, say this keeps gaining more and more traction, and you kind of become the poster child for all of this, and they decide to make a movie about it. Who would you want playing you?
Oh my God, I never even...
You never thought you were going to be
in Time
Magazine.
Young actresses. I don't even know anybody like maybe Jennifer Lawrence.
That's where I was going.
Hilarious. Like, I love her.
She's not only hilarious, she's just extraordinarily talented.
Right? She is. And I just love how down to earth she is, though.
Yeah. Like
she's a real human.
It's like, I may not agree with some of her politics, but I love her to death. She just tells it as she sees it. And I can always respect that. And she is so down to earth. Like, she's pregnant right now. And they ask us, they're all, what have you been doing for the last 3 years? She's all, been having lots of sex. It's like,
of course. Yeah, she's one of my favorite. She's probably the only younger actress I even know, thinking about it. Like, the only other actress I can name that I think is under 25 is Zendaya, and I only know that because of TikTok and all the Tom Holland TikToks. And she's probably a little young for that. So, I don't even know anybody.
But have you seen Silver Linings Playbook?
I watched it a long time ago. I can't remember.
That's where I actually just went like, holy crap, she can act. Because everything I ever saw before, it was literally just Hunger Games, and for all I knew, she was playing herself. And then Silver Linings Playbook came out, and it was like totally different character, and it was believable. It's like, okay, she is talented.
I watched a horror movie on Netflix with her a couple weeks or months ago, and that was pretty good. Mother?
I never did see that space one. I didn't hear that it was all that great, unfortunately. It was like her.
There's a lot of space movies.
Well, there was one with it was her and this other guy. They woke up too soon, and the entire like ship was starting to glitch out really bad.
I don't remember that.
I feel like
I know I'm not making this up.
Are you talking about Interstellar?
No, that was a good movie though.
Because I don't think I thought that. Yeah, that's Anne Hathaway.
Was
right?
it Passengers?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I watched that yet.
That was her and Chris Pratt.
Yeah. Interesting combination.
Right.
I mean, you have like two of the funniest people that are just naturally funny in a serious movie.
Right.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I thought about it a lot. It's hard to decide what to say and do when I don't have any access to ask the most important person in the story, you know, like, how do you feel about this? Like, I don't get to ask that. So it can be nerve-wracking to do anything because I don't know how my adopted child's going to feel someday. Like, is he going to be really pissed about all this? You know, I would hope not. That I would hope he sees it that I'm trying to do what's right, but you know, he may not like that. He might be mad that I chose to you know, say this is the last story like this. You know, he might be like, that wasn't my place. Might be his, but
I mean,
in the same time, you know,
it's like, does he even know he's adopted?
I'm sure he does. We talk. I don't have access to him. I don't talk to him, but one of his parents chats with me once a year, twice a year sometimes. So I'll get like a letter and a photo. But
and he's a
I don't have like
clone of you. I mean, he really is.
He really is. It's kind of creepy sometimes. It's so odd to me.
It's
even
like,
looking at the kids I've raised, like he is the most similar looking to me, and it's weird.
On behalf of who you married, I could say that those genes are strong. We all look the same.
I know. And then you got my, well, one of them looks like my husband here, but the other three are all just, I made little clones, it seems like, but I hope though that he
I
understands.
heard that little man back there.
I know. I hope my son understands though someday that it wasn't just that I wasn't trying to like expose his story or, you know, villainize anybody in his life, because I don't want him to think that. I just want him to understand like what happened, and I don't think it's fair to let it keep happening to anybody else.
Yeah, definitely no one should have to go through what you did. It was just awful. And, you know, if you getting this story out can help prevent anyone else from having to go through the turmoil that you've been through, I think that's a wonderful thing for you to do. You know, and hopefully your son will understand that too.
Yeah, I did send the Time article to one of his parents, and, you know, I got a positive reaction from them. It wasn't long, but it wasn't negative either. So that was a good feeling, and kind of let me feel like I could go further with this, you know, like he wasn't upset about it. So it was nice to be kind of not really given permission, but it was more like a release of the stress, you know, of his reaction. Like, I still, even if I don't need or want their permission, I still am worried about their reaction, because, you know, any negative reaction they have, they could pass on to my, you know,
kids. I don't want him to feel, any kind of tension.
Right, and if I remember correctly, it was more the agency than it was the parents that is at fault here. So,
yeah, and in my
they wanted a kid. I don't think we'll be honest.
Yeah, but that's
so did
the way
you.
Things are. But right, but yeah, they're kind people. My kid lives a good life and stuff. Even though what happened wasn't, I don't think it's any right way to do it, but obviously, but I don't think they're at fault either. They don't have a choice on what the agency told me.
Right.
Which kind of makes it even all that much more messed up, because it makes the agency even more at fault. How many victims are they going to have, and with one adoption, because it seems like I'm not the only one and neither is my child.
No,
seems like they were kind of victims too. If they were used as leverage to procure a child, their emotions were kind of played into it, and they might not even have ever known.
Right. I mean, it would be kind of shocking. Like if I adopted a child and I found out that the agency acted like that, I'd be like, my God, I'm involved in a legal kidnapping, would be my reaction. Right. Now, holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know how they feel about it. I didn't really get along. I didn't get an intimately detailed letter about it, but I did get an acknowledgement that they did get it, and I don't doubt that someday, my son will see it all. Like, there's no way to hide it all at this point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, with the internet, if he starts looking, he might find it.
Yeah. Just hope that I hope that he finds it in the right order, so that he doesn't feel hurt, But yeah, I have seen a lot of a big upsurge of women mostly on TikTok talking about adoption and even foster care adoption, which is great because that system has its own issues that it needs fixed.
Yeah, I mean, it gets messy when you're talking about lives, and that's what this is. And I mean, I don't have a solution. I just know that things need to be better. I mean, when it's actually easier a lot of times to go international to get a child for adoption than it is here in the States, that's a problem.
My thing is, when other countries are telling you that your adoption industry is a problem, so they don't want people from your country adopting, that's a big problem. I'm pretty sure Nigeria shut its borders down to adoption because of the U.S. adoptions that were coming. There were so many, and the people that were adopting weren't respecting the culture the way that they promised to. And they're also finding out that children are being kidnapped and put into adoption centers. And it was this big, messy kids that had parents that were like, oh, my child was kidnapped. And then they find them in America 10 years later, and they're like, oh, I was adopted. No, they weren't adopted. Well, they were adopted. Or kids that were legally adopted through their country, and their adoptive parents never get them not passports, but green cards or naturalized. There are children who've grown up their entire lives, 18 years, 21 years in America, who grow up, ouch, cat just scratched me, grow up and find out that they're getting deported because their parents never naturalized them or did their paperwork properly. And it happens all the time.
That
horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even like someone crossed the border with their kids or crossed the border illegally, had kids. This is next level. This is even wow.
It's almost like they're not finalizing adoptions, or they're just not getting the citizenship status after the adoption's finalized. They think that that's all they need to do. But it's not. And then when, these kids grow up and have to fight for citizenship again.
And they're wow. You have to go back to Nigeria. It's like, I don't know anything about Nigeria other than I don't want to go there.
Yeah, like, excuse me. Yeah, that happens. It happens frequently. It's pretty scary. So countries, yeah, they're shutting their borders. Other countries are shutting their borders down to American adoptions because it's so packed with problems that they'd rather not deal with us. Like, that's...
So the reality is that the Nigerian prince email scams are just to try to get even with us.
Yeah, probably. It's all our fault.
They're like, we wouldn't be doing this if you weren't kidnapping our kids.
Right. They're not scams. They're just trying to pay their ransom, get their kids back. That was dark. Sorry.
That's
anyways.
Really, but hey, you know what? I've been saying it for a long time. When you have really tough issues like this, you develop a dark sense of humor. It's a coping mechanism.
Oh yeah, it's always the jokes that are made privately. Oh yeah, it's just you have to cope somehow, and if you either laugh or cry.
Yeah, and humor is a great way of dealing with it because it makes it easier to talk about.
Yeah, it does, and it makes it easier to tell the truth too. Sometimes.
Yep.
What other issues that were coming up a lot with? There was other problems that were coming up with international adoptions that I'm trying to remember. It's kind of tied into that other one, but they ran off. The Nargles.
By the way, we were saying that you're totally adorable while you were frozen. Because you are.
Oh my god.
I know, your husband's my cousin. He really went above his station. I'm just saying.
Why, thank you. That's funny.
Of course, I will take any opportunity I can to put a dig in at him. Freaking
Good.
Cowboys fan.
He needs some.
So, yeah, it's kind of funny how you came on our show. It was the summer season of, season 2. We had just gotten the 3-hour episodes. You hadn't been, maybe it's like, Time Magazine, I think the idea was there, like they had reached out to you, but there really wasn't a lot of anything going on, and you were like totally nervous about coming on this podcast, and now, nationally published, magazine that is highly respected, and there you are.
Right, it's pretty wild. It seems pretty crazy to me. It's good though. I just wish that it wasn't only me. I wish I could get other women to come out, and I had a couple people contact me while the article was being written, and I was like, come on, you can tell it's your chance, you can tell people what happened, and they don't want to do it because they're afraid of the backlash.
And I think
that's sad.
And I read that there was one other person that actually contributed to the article, but no pictures. You were definitely the focus.
I think there was one picture I saw of the woman that runs the organization called Saving Our Sisters, and she does, the whole organization is made for women who are about to give their baby up for adoption, who change their mind and they need a car seat or 2 weeks rent so they can give birth and not get evicted. And they do wonderful things, and they will even, they have lawyers all over the country that if you change your mind, so you have 10 days in most states to change your mind, you give your baby up, and then you have 10 days. A lot of times what happens is the adoptive parents just say, well, you know what, come get it then. Come get your baby then. Because they know they can't. So this organization provides resources to people, like even lawyers or women, to go with them because, they won't answer the door, or they're saying, well, take me to court over it. And the court process is 6 months long. And by then the judge determines, oh, well, the baby doesn't even know you anymore. So this organization provides lawyers to women who've changed their mind so they can go to the place they need to go and get their children or child back.
Good. Yeah, I was looking at the one that I think you're talking about was Jesselyn. Worked for ANLC.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't I should probably have a copy in front of me on here.
Yeah, I'll just go through this. Jocelyn in Spite worked for ANLC in 2015. It says private adoption is rife with problems. And in quotes, it's much more rampant than anyone could understand.
Yeah, that's the lady from the agency I used. That's not the Saving Our Sisters organization lady. I can't quite remember her name right now.
Right.
I should, but my mind is just all over the place.
But it's nice that they got a whistleblower from the organization that you used.
Was really...
to back you. I mean, you couldn't have better backing than to be like someone's like, yeah, I worked there.
Right. Yeah, I worked there and it's got problems. I've actually read a bunch of reviews online too from people that worked there that quit, over the years because of various issues, but a lot of times it was just guilt. You could just hear the guilt in their posts racking up, and the inhumanity of their job just got to them too fast.
Yeah, I mean, if you know what they're doing, it's just, and you're okay with it, there was something wrong. Okay, I'm just going to throw that out there.
I feel like that one of the main things that I hope gets changed legally soon is the legality of an adoption agency providing an adoption counselor when it's in their own interests, and ANLC will die on their hill remaining that they're not an adoption agency. They're just a matching agency, not an adoption agency. That's what they say. But, they sure advertise like an adoption agency. But the guy that wrote the Time article, Teak Root, he called them brokers, and that's what he ended up naming the article.
Yeah, I saw that there was a YouTube video called Baby Brokers.
Yeah, he worked with Newsy as well, and published the 15-minute documentary on newsy.com, which is a different news site. And then he published a Time article as well. And then I did the BBC one just recently.
Yeah, I found a link to the BBC thing and dropped it in the chat. And I also dropped a link to Saving Our Sisters.
And I put those into our...
into the Discord.
Meant to put it in the Discord, accidentally put it in a private message to a group of people, but they all know what I'm doing. So...
Well, I put the BBC thing in our Discord already, too.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm just dumb, so,
But you're so pretty.
That is not a word that I like hearing. I'm not pretty.
Kidding. You are when you shave your face, I'm just saying. You're baby-faced.
Still? Anyway... No, I am so glad that your story's getting out there. Me too. It's like when you came to us, we were like all of like 7 listeners strong. So, but it was a step. Yeah, it was a stepping stone, because you went from just little TikToks, 15 seconds to a minute long, to you actually had a platform to talk about it at length. And then then you made the quantum leap from itty bitty little podcast to holy shit.
Major publication.
I know. I wonder how I sometimes wonder how he found me, but
how I found you?
Never asked. No, I remember our story. I just couldn't remember. I just don't remember right now how Teak said he found my story. It's probably some angry review I left because I'm good at leaving angry reviews. Probably went onto the Google and was like, this agency, I can just see myself doing it.
See, it's a trait that runs in the family. Even though you're by marriage, we attract birds of a feather,
Yep, exactly.
Why I'm always banned from everything. Because I'm like, I'm going to leave you a piece of my mind. Hey, why am I banned?
Oh, no.
But yeah, and then of course BBC Radio. I mean, shit, that's listened globally.
I know, that's so crazy. The lady that I worked with at Ivano, she was so nice too, and she talked about. That was one of the things I was gonna bring up. Was she was really interested in the Facebook pages that offer secondhand adoptions, which is So you go on Facebook and you Google up secondhand adoptions, and
all I'm thinking of is like, I adopted this kid and I don't like it. Someone come and take it.
That's literally what the posts are.
Oh, that's terrible.
Failed adoptions supposedly, and it's these people they advertise the kids with pictures and fake names and their likes and dislikes, and it's just like an animal, like they're rehoming animals. It's wild. And these people make these adoption commitments to these foster kids, and then it doesn't work out because they come all people come with their own set of issues. It doesn't matter adopted or not, but adopted children have their own set of trauma that's for sure. And these people are adopting these kids and then they just give up and rehome them on Facebook. And that's a hard pill to swallow. I can't imagine rehoming a human being on Facebook.
Right. I mean,
being like, they like Legos and Star Wars and they're real happy-go-lucky and love school, and you're like,
yeah, but why are you
human?
Yeah, this is a human, and why do you have a problem with this?
Yeah, I just don't understand how. Well, and they always have, little glibs at the end where it talks about, oh, they would be best with a family of only mother and father and no younger siblings or something. And, it's like, maybe this information should be private. And a lot of these kids are like teenagers and preteens and younger kids. So they're kids that can find themselves on these websites. Yeah, it's pretty shocking.
Yeah, they go back to their adoptive mom. The fuck? The hell are you doing?
Yeah, it's crazy. The U.S. adoptions are dissolvable, and that's so wild that you can just decide, oh, I wanted this kid so bad, I love them so much, and I paid so much for them, and I did everything and all this stuff, and they're all to get basically ownership by adopting, because a lot of it is about, with adoptive parents, sometimes it seems like a lot of it's about having full rights to a child or another human, and then they get them and the things don't work out like a fairy tale and they give up. There's a big scandal. Some woman rehomed her son recently. Some blogger or something rehomed her little boy because he was too difficult. And she got a lot of backlash for that, thank God. But that opened a lot of people's eyes. And I'm glad that it opened some eyes, but at the expense of that little boy's future, and his self-esteem and everything else that comes with being rehomed as a child.
Oh my goodness. I can't imagine being a child, a teenager, coming across something like that on Facebook and seeing yourself and the damage it would do to your mental health, to your self-esteem, to, the very core of your being. It's
right.
Heinous.
It's like, and this is, of course, it's not all whatever. Like, not all teenagers, but vast majority, they all want the same things that we want, to be loved and accepted and have someone there.
Right. It just shocks me how blasé adoption is. It's all over Facebook, and not only are they rehoming kids on Facebook, I just don't understand how people can run, donation pages for their own adoption funds. Like, they're running little, the word is escaping me.
So they do like a GoFundMe to raise money?
Yeah. There's thousands of couples on Facebook just have their own little, or they're using their Facebook to search up birth mothers or whatever. And it's like there's people contacting other people on social media asking for their children, and nobody on Facebook has a problem with this. What?
Hey, your daughter's absolutely adorable. Can I adopt her?
Yeah, just wild to me.
No, you can go fuck yourself.
They hey, you're in a birth mother searching group. I see, I am, and they'll reach out to these people. And, well, I can provide you this, and they'll make all these crazy promises that they are not legally enforceable. And it's like, you should not be allowed to sit there and coerce anybody, make promises about anything when it comes to the exchange of a human life. Like, this system is so broken and so not even, like, it seems like the adoption in America isn't even broken. It's like it wasn't even assembled in the first place. It's just like
and I mean,
pieces on the floor.
And I mean, it's not a perfect comparison. It's not a perfect analogy, but there is no such thing as a perfect analogy. But it's almost like a segment of slavery still exists. Because, I mean, you're describing people the same way as you did with slaves. This person...
and they're selling them to fulfill a purpose.
Yeah. The difference is that they're legally not a slave.
Yeah, they're not... Yeah. They're not supposed to be treated like one, but a lot of times they are.
They sure get handled like one.
Yeah, and the exchange of money, and it's just so wild. And the lawyers being allowed to charge literally whatever they want for adoption fees, like they're exchanging humans, and they can charge anything. The agencies are charging matching fees that are absurd, $5,000, and there's agencies that have the cost of each race baby listed on their website.
Dear Lord.
No, I'm not kidding. Like, there's multiple of them, and they'll say, and they're upfront, and they price them by color basically, and it's if you have a home
disgusting.
If you have a home study, you can get into these websites. Like, a lot of them have locked down the information now because it's so disgusting and repulsive that they are trying to lock the information down to where only...
maybe we shouldn't be advertising this to the public.
Maybe we shouldn't be charging more for human beings depending on what they look like. Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't be doing this. Just a thought.
Just stop selling babies, maybe. That would be cool. That's...
Right? It's like, I'm going to need you to stop doing this now, because, it's awful.
Yeah, we're in the 21st century. We're almost a quarter of the way through the 21st century. Can we, stop?
Yeah, it's crazy to me that we're, planning, we have, people in space for fun, leisure space trips, but we're still selling human beings. Are you serious?
That's just crazy. That is a good way of putting it, though. It's like, hey, if you have the money, you could either go to space or buy a baby.
What do you want to do? Anything's possible if you have enough money, and nobody will,
And then one of the reviews, no one told me that the baby would grow up. I can't handle a child. What?
It's almost like half the adoptive parents react that way, too. It's a huge part of the adoption process. Issue with me is that the home study's not invasive enough. The actual, what you think of with the home study is a lady with the clipboard going, yes, all your outlets are covered. But part of it is a counseling sessions. The adults in the house have to go through counseling sessions. Well, there's only 3 hours of it. Anybody can fake anything for 3 hours.
Yeah. Our episodes are 3 hours. We fake also. I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, 3 hours, that's easy.
And yeah, so it's like, whoa, and it seems like there should be more extensive.
Just as an example, the FHA home loans, they have to come and they send someone to come and check out your house, and they only have an hour. You know what they do for the first 45 minutes? The measurements. Make sure everything is measured correctly according to what is there. And then they have 15 minutes to try to spot issues.
Oh my god, that's so crazy.
Yeah, well, we bought a house. It was 1960s. It was built in 1960. It had a lot of issues. We had the owners kind of strategically put stuff in the way of things that was like, okay, now that's a big issue. It's like, well, that's something we will fix, but we don't want it showing up because it's going to be too much for us right now. But we'll fix it, within a year of owning the house. So let's put this heavy stuff in front of it so they won't take the time to move it because they only have 15 minutes.
Oh my god! Right?
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
Like I said, so with 3 hours, you're basically doing the same thing, but it's like an interview. That's easy to hide. That's even easier than putting heavy shit in front of things that you should take care of. Like,
right.
Like the fact that the garage doesn't have ventilation through the walls at the bottom like they're supposed to, because it was converted into a bedroom at one point in time. And they never converted it back properly. We have fixed that.
Right.
But at the time.
Yeah, it's so wild that that it's like, it's just so common. Like, you could just Google anything and Google adoption and get so many, just all these ads, like you're advertising for the sale of humans, like that you're the best human seller, top Google human baby seller. Like, what is happening? How is this still a thing? Like,
ours are the most premium, and like, we do the most volume. What?
Yeah, literally, they'll be like that, or like, we cost less, or we have a money back guarantee. Like, what? That was part of the issue with mine, is that there was a money back guarantee, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think I remember my counselor, heavy quotations there, telling me that the adoptive parents I'd choose had already been matched, and then somebody changed their mind already. So if that's true, then they had their money back guarantee, then they probably just didn't want to do it again, because they made that promise. But it's so crazy. You can't promise that. You can't say promise to give your money back. Like,
I mean, you can make that promise, but good luck getting that pulled in court.
Right?
Because, I mean, wow. Just the moral implications of all that.
I know.
Even the legal implications is there's got to be something. I mean, if they're not going to court, there's got to be a reason.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's so wild to me. A lot. If that's another obstacle, birth mothers that change their mind coming across a lot, is that the adoptive parents will say, well, fine, meet me in court. And they'll meet them in court, and the adoptive parents have the resources to have a lawyer, and the birth parents don't. So they lose.
Which is why it's great that there's that service out there.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, you would have taken advantage of had it existed at the time and you knew about it.
It didn't, but yeah. I think it was a couple years. I think it was founded like 2 years after what happened with my situation. Yeah.
You're like, I need it within 10 days.
Right. At the time, though, I was so isolated that, and internet and phones were so different in 2010 that I just didn't have the access to information the way I do now, or did 5 years after what happened. So, it might not have even if it did exist, like, 10, 15 years ago, like, it wouldn't have been available. And that's another fault of the agencies. They're deliberately hiding resources to help people keep their babies because they're more interested in making their sales.
Yeah, it's against their best interest, their bottom line.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, if now I'm not a huge fan of laws, of making extra laws for things, but when they're necessary. When, for me, it's like a legitimate law is a law that is moral. It protects the morality of something. It should be a law that your counselor for an adoption is third party, no interest in it, other than what's in the best interest of the child.
Right. A third party social worker, honestly. You know, and maybe even a county social worker, like these agencies being required to assign a county social worker who would provide all the same things they would to somebody who was facing losing their children to foster care. Because it's usually the same types of situations that, these people are in. They just don't want to see their babies in those situations. So they try whatever. And if they had these resources and a social worker to help them get them or understand them or set them up, then most private adoptions wouldn't happen, at all.
Yeah.
If all the resources were clearly available and not just hidden behind legal paperwork. And, you know, the agencies, they definitely don't provide. I can't say across the board, you know, obviously I can't say every agency, but I can say that a lot of agencies aren't going to provide the information for the resources.
And you could say first-hand experience with at least one.
Yeah.
And hopefully just
right?
the one. No, I know it's just
you would hope, but yeah, in my case, it's just the one. But yeah.
Yeah. But you also know people that have gone through other agencies, right? That have similar stories.
Yeah, I've read a lot of stuff online. It's just that people don't want to come out. They want to stay anonymous, and they're afraid of, you know, if they have contact with their kids, they're afraid of losing what little contact they have. And if they don't, then they're afraid of the way their kids are going to feel someday, which, you know, I get that. That's scary to me. You know, I feel that fear deep in my soul, but at the same time, like I just can't justify watching it keep happening. You know, There's just no way for me to do that anyway.
You know, and that is something that we both have in common, is that we both had a kid adopted out, but mine was in a totally different situation.
Yeah.
And I did an open adoption, and she's back in my life now.
Yeah.
And I hope that you can get yours back in your life too.
Yeah, I hope so too. I just try not to worry about it too much, because it's either very far in the future and I can't control, you know, when it happens anyway. So I try to put it aside and, you know, try to do what's moral, even though, you know, it might piss some people off.
And that's fine. If you're doing the right thing, let it piss people off. It tells you more about them.
True.
And we actually have DeVern listening right now. And he went to back up a little bit. When you were talking about the different prices for different races and different colors, he made a very good point. He said racism will just evolve and never go away. Plus the old version will stay. It should all go away. But because people are trash, it won't change. And sadly, that's true. I hate saying that people are trash, but there's a lot of trash people out there.
There is.
There's a lot of great people, too. This podcast wouldn't exist if it wasn't for great people. If everyone was trash, no.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and he also made another comment if you want to cover it, Bexy.
Yeah, and I got it. Yeah, he also says, "Oh, that's weird. Why must everything have predators, even adoption agencies? Come on."
Yeah.
It's really just a sad state of affairs.
It really is.
And then he says, "Even the most well-meaning operations like adoption can have a messy side, I guess. This is why being blissfully ignorant is probably a lovely thing."
Yeah, but the problem is with ignorance is that as soon as you're no longer ignorant, you can't go back.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, yes, to be blissfully ignorant again.
Yeah, I was a child once. Yeah, so, as I was telling you before we actually went on the air, someone that might be listening right now, they may not have set up an account for chat, but he's going into social working, and I'm going to try to get him in on the episode, because I'd love to pick a line and find out, why he's doing it. But his girlfriend also had a kid get adopted through a predatory adoption agency.
Yeah. And it's pretty crazy how common it is once you start digging.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing, when you had the article published and you were like talking about it, I was like, I need a copy of it, and you sent it. I sat down and read it instantly, the whole thing. It's a really good article. But,
it is. He did a really good job.
Yeah, but it is shocking to find out some of the stuff in there, and the whole article just felt like maybe it was just a scratch on the surface. Like, it
Right?
is way more terrifying than what we have already perceived. Because we don't know the inner workings. Like, you were a client, so to speak. You were a supplier, as how they probably looked at it.
Right.
But we don't know what the whole inner workings look like.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty, it's concerning, like, just like from what I've been through, like what really happens, what's really happening to other people that are, you know, more isolated than I was, still isolated, people that are afraid to say something now. It's crazy. It's so crazy. It blows my mind all the time.
And I hate that my mind went here, but you know what's going to wind up happening is that as this information becomes more and more public, those agencies are going to start getting even more and more harsh about, you know, if you ever go public. They might actually just turn around and threaten like that, too, directly.
Yeah. I was worried about that when I first started working with Time, with Teak, and, you know, about the Time article, because, you know, I don't know how they're running. I know how they felt about the article, and I know that they I don't know when, I can't remember the facts now or the data or whatever, but I do know that at one point the agency was sold from like a husband to a wife.
So they're basically still own the agency, but now there's technically new owners.
Yes.
Wow. That just, wow.
Words are failing me at this point with that. It's just so out there. I mean,
yeah, really, it's mind-boggling. And yeah, I'm right there with you. I have no words.
That's been so weird.
I knew I'd get him to break.
There you go. Oh, it's funny.
We're all fucked up, so.
Right. For now, the people that are not seeing the video.
Yeah. Let's just say that my cousin decided to photobomb, but it's video, so video bomb, and started doing little hand gestures and stuff back and forth, and yeah, it got really disturbing really fast.
He's hungry. He didn't know. He didn't know that this was a 3-hour thing.
It doesn't have to be full 3 hours, but it can.
It's Cheez-Its. I'm not trying to eat on mic, though. That would be so annoying.
Yeah. So.
I know. I had Richard go get me a Pop-It, though, so I could fidget quietly.
That's what that sound is.
Is it? Can you hear it?
I can hear it. No, Pop-Its are, like, they're amazing.
I got it the loudest one.
Thanks.
Of course you did.
Oh my gosh.
Damn, I miss
so anyways.
Not gonna lie.
Did you move? Are you still in Reading?
I never lived in Reading.
No, he's in Sacramento.
Oh, Sacramento. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's so many of you.
It's not even Sacramento. It's an outskirts of Sacramento.
Yeah, I don't live downtown. I live in the burbs.
His dad lives in Reading.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Which is why
We're just outing your family members on air right now. Just give everybody's.
It's all good. No, I actually got.
Anywho.
Facebook has been reminding me almost daily, even though it's like I'm in jail right now. I still get to see my history and everything, and I can see all the posts. I just can't respond or anything. And I'm seeing how in 2012 or 2013 when my mom had her accidents. It was right around this time. And it's been rough. You're just remembering all that. Coming up on 10 years.
Wow.
Uh-oh. And we're kind of frozen. Well, I can hear the noises back there, but the video is pretty much frozen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh. Well.
All I gotta say is, how the hell did someone as ugly as him land someone like you? But I mean, that applies for just about anybody that he would get with.
I don't think
but you're
he
awesome.
can hear you. Can you hear him?
You're breaking up really bad.
Looking at it with both eyes when you talk to me.
Yeah, I heard that.
Did you hear me?
No, you broke up. Oh.
Yeah, I heard it.
I'm the only one in the family that makes fun of him for that.
I don't know if you should be proud of that.
You might be, actually. Everyone else is so sensitive. And I don't care.
You better not care around Richard.
Yeah, I have strabismus, if anyone's wondering. I have a lazy eye. You know what it is? When I see Richard, one eye just instinctively looks away because, dear God.
Is he looking at me or is he looking at you? I can't tell.
Turn off my headphones.
Oh, you're breaking up really bad.
For a minute.
There we go.
Hold on. Ah. Okay, is my sound quality really bad now?
No.
Oh, good. All right, since Richard's trying to get involved in this, let's just
I'm not
figured
involved
I'd
in anything.
turn off the headphones.
I'm just hangry.
All right, so Mike, here's a question. When did Richard find out about all this?
Oh my God.
Like month one.
Like the first couple weeks. So the first year or two afterwards was the hardest. Chip bag. My goodness.
So loud.
I know. The first year or two after first weeks, 2 weeks, month, it was really soon. So the first year was really hard, and I ended up drinking a lot. So as you can imagine, it didn't work out well, and I cried a lot when I drank, and just I think I got too drunk one night and just cried forever and told him about it, and I don't know. He never really left, so I think he's okay with it.
Yeah, as all the crap that I give, he is a good guy.
Once in a while.
Yeah.
I've heard stories, though. I've heard some pretty scary stories.
Man, I watched them growing up.
It's because you're always 30 years older than us.
Yeah. Well, 30? No. That's all right. You'll always be a baby.
That's okay. I got the baby fat to go with it.
Yeah, you do. How come your little brother doesn't have any baby fat? Like, seriously, what the hell?
Because he's just fat.
Works like 1 million hours a week.
Yeah, Devon was saying that now that you took off your headphones, there's an echo.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Let me put them back on. Say bye, Richard.
Bye. They're asking for you.
Bye, Richard. Bye, Dick.
I'm going to go eat alone.
Dang,
That's
he's
the
gonna go eat with
plan.
us then.
No, let's go. Sherry's after.
He needs to learn the song. I had a friend once who was pregnant, and we were trying to decide where to go to eat, and she just started busting out in song. I'm so hungry, you won't feed me no food.
One of the best ideas I've ever heard is an app kind of like Tinder, but you have like a couple has the same app and they're on this like matched account, and it just shows you all the different restaurants in your area, and you keep swiping either left or right, and as soon as you get a match, that's where you go.
Oh, that's pretty cool sounding.
Isn't it? Because then you're not sitting there asking a bunch of questions. You're just, okay, swipe, 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 swipe. Oh, we matched?
Right.
All right, let's go.
All right. That's pretty cool.
Of course,
Probably
there's
wouldn't
those
work
times...
around here. There's only 5 restaurants.
Right. Of course, then there's those times where it's just like you're so hungry, you're like, I don't care. I'm swiping the same, yes, 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 yes. You're going to match on something eventually. Yes, 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 yes.
Right. I'd be all in Sacramento before I got any.
Maybe you can come and hang out with us.
Right.
Actually, cool little story is that when your husband came back, was on leave from the military, he actually made a point to come and hang out with us. Like, literally no other cousin has done that. None.
You know, he used to hang out with a lot of people, and I noticed that he was really close with his cousins when we got together, and then I gave him some kids, and now he's busy.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, huh?
No, that was really cool of him to be like, hey, I'm in the area. I'm like, all right, come on over. My door's always open for family. Always.
Right.
Damn, that was when I was still living at the duplex. Before I had kids number 4 and 5.
Hey, so did you get a chance to listen to the BBC radio?
No, I haven't. I will do that later for sure.
It's only a few minutes long. It's only about 15 minutes long, I think, and a lot of it is her talking to the woman about the second chance adoptions.
No, I could just play it through the podcast.
Oh gosh, don't make me listen to it though.
Just saying, fill 15 minutes.
You play it at the end, maybe, so I can log off and I don't have to listen to my own voice.
Weren't we just talking about that?
Oh my gosh, it took me so much effort just to listen to the podcast, not because of like the emotional toll of the topic, but just because I didn't want to hear my own voice for that long. It was nerve-wracking just because I was like, oh my god. Make me shut up.
No, everybody hates the sound of their own voice. You always sound more nasally when you hear yourself than what you hear when you're speaking.
Right? Yes, definitely. So, yeah. It was awkward. It was hard to listen to.
Yeah. So
myself.
It kind of makes me wonder, what does Fran Drescher sound like to herself? Because she's one of the most nasally sounding people I've ever listened to.
Oh no! I don't even know.
I would hate to do the playback on the episode I popped in on when I didn't have a voice and I sounded like Minnie Mouse.
That was, what, 2 episodes ago?
Yeah, it was.
Last week's episode was the shortest ever. It was the Happy Holidays. No one showed up. Bye.
Alone on Christmas.
Yeah, a little Happy Holidays. Whatever you celebrate, have a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never scheduling another episode during Christmas week again, because no one's available. Everyone's busy.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, it would be better to just let it go.
For that week. Vacation.
Yeah. Let it go. Let it go.
Don't start. So over. I was over that movie when it came out. I can't believe it's been like 10 years since it came out, too.
The second one, way better.
Oh, yeah.
There was actually character development.
I just watched the first one so much that I can't like it. I can't like it even if I wanted to.
I really like that Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yeah, I don't think
I still haven't seen that. The kids love it. I just haven't had time to watch it.
You should watch it. It's really good.
Being urged to watch Encanto by my kids.
I'm being urged to watch Encanto by my kids as well.
Yeah.
and my brother-in-law. He said it was pretty good.
Hmm.
I have been getting all of these. You must watch the Book of Boba Fett. I'm like, yes, I know. Don't spoil anything.
It's about Boba Fett. Oh, spoiler! And Diverge tries to say there was no way the second Frozen was better. It was much better. In
Yes, it was.
every imaginable way, it was better.
Oh, my kid was so obsessed with that for so long.
My daughter's
I remember-
still obsessed with it.
When we went to Disneyland one year and she was obsessed with it, and it had first come out, maybe a year or two, and they had the character lines for Anna and Elsa, and we stood in line forever to meet them. And my kid was so starstruck that she couldn't even talk. And so we stood in line for like 2 or 3 hours to get these pictures of her just bug-eyed and like starstruck, and she couldn't even speak. And then a few years later, Moana comes out, and my littlest was obsessed with that. And when we took him to meet her, same damn thing. Starstruck, couldn't speak, just goggled at the poor lady and just trying to talk to him, and he was just looking at her like she was nuts.
Moana's an amazing movie, by the way.
It is amazing. I have pictures of Adam when he met Hey Hey.
Oh, that's cute.
Hey Hey is Adam's spirit animal.
I can see that.
I want to get him a shirt that says Hey Hey is my spirit animal, because it's true.
So,
Right.
my now 20-year-old, when she was little, her favorite princess was Cinderella. And when we went to go see Cinderella, Cinderella had to take a 15-minute break to go and make sure everything was fine in her kingdom, by California law.
Right.
And everybody else left. She insisted on staying the whole time. So when Cinderella came back, she got a little extra time out of it.
Nice. Yeah,
We've
gotten lucky a couple times.
She wasn't starstruck at all. She was just like, oh my, she was like so excited and hugs and chatting and just like,
Right.
wow.
Aww.
That's cute.
I think that had a lot to do with it too, because, those people that play those parts, they see a lot of starstruck kids. There's only so much you can do with them. But the ones that are interactive and in a great mood, there's a lot you can do.
I know when Brooke, I name my kids on the internet. When one of my kids meets certain people, he'll look them in the eye and go, "I am so shy and embarrassed. I'm feeling so shy right now." And then he'll just detail his entire life and ask them details of all their entire lives. And the kid is so blunt that he'll look at a character at a theme park and go, "You're in a mask, aren't you?" "I know it. What's your real job?" And I'm like, "Dude, there's like 80 kids behind you. You can't say that." But
And you know what? That is the real job.
right. Your job is dealing with snotty kids all day, all right, son?
Do you think it's easy wearing a heavy-ass, non-breathable costume in the summertime in Disneyland?
Right.
If that isn't
Man,
a real job.
I feel for the lady that plays Rapunzel with that 25-pound wig.
Oh, I feel bad for the guy that plays the Goofy, because completely covered head to toe, and not allowed to talk.
Huh.
So he can't say, "I need water!"
Yeah.
Or, "I could sure use some water right about now."
Right.
I really want to go and find I've never been to Disney, first of all, and I would love to go, but I want to find Gaston.
He usually comes out, he's always out at Florida, but he doesn't come out very much in California. And now you're going to want to wait until all the COVID stuff's over, because you're not allowed to touch or meet characters. You meet them, but it's from like a 6-foot distance, and you can't get real good pictures anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's funny though is that if you don't play into the characters, because they're a method actor, if you don't play into Gaston's ego, you won't even get the time of day.
Yeah, I know, but see, I would break into the song from Beauty and the Beast,
and that's playing right into the ego.
Exactly. I wanna break into the song that those three blondes sing in the middle of Belle's little, first song, and when Gaston walks into the scene, and
I could sing it right now, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it, but I know it. I actually went and saw one of the Disney plays live, and it was the Beauty and the Beast one.
Yeah, no, my kids, they were all about Nickelodeon Live. So it was like Shimmer and Shine, which was my youngest daughter's favorite. And, God damn it, Paw Patrol.
Oh, gosh.
Which is my youngest son's favorite. And yeah, and then of course they had Bubble Guppies, and I mean it was insanity.
My kids are all went through Mickey addiction phases, probably because I'm such a Disney nerd.
My youngest went through Mickey for a while. Now today he's all about Spider-Man.
Yep.
Oh, that's
my
so
kids
cool.
are growing into that one too.
And he likes
Batman.
Batman.
What it is about Spider-Man. Everybody loves Spider-Man.
I think it's because this is something that was actually said by everyone's going to shoot me for this. I just forgot the creator's name.
Stan Lee.
Yeah, Stan Lee. Why did I forget that? It was not intentional, but he said that probably the most appealing part about Spider-Man is that he is covered head to toe, can't see anything, not even his eyes. So Spider-Man could literally be anybody. Mm-hmm. And the fact that
makes sense.
He's a high school kid who, I mean, dude, the Marvel Universe Spider-Man, freaking amazing. Tom Holland plays such a great Spider-Man, like with I love his. Like, whoa, Captain America, like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's just, he's so down to earth. He could be anybody.
Yeah, I love Spider-Man too, but
did you ever see did you see when Tom Holland was in full costume in Disneyland and no one knew that it was him for a while? And he's sitting there, he's talking to everybody, he's doing the poses. It's like, you hear the voice, you're like, dude, that has to be him.
Yeah.
His voice is unique.
We were in Disneyland a few years ago when frickin' Jack Sparrow was really in the ride. And we didn't go on the ride that day because the line was too long. And I was like, there's no way we're going to spend 2 hours waiting for pirates. It's just a little boat ride.
And I had no idea. Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and then later I found out and I was like, son of a bitch. I wanted to go so bad.
Yeah, 2 hours? That's worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Tom Holland, he's giving autographs. He's hugging people. He's talking about, how he's part of the Avengers, but kind of not really. And then he's like, hey, you guys want to meet some of the people that helped me out? And then, of course, they're like, okay, yeah. And the real actors of, like, his man in the chair and all that. And then he takes off the mask, and everybody's like, holy shit, we actually were.
Okay, so that would have been the day that Avengers Campus opened up in Disneyland. Because they have their own campus area now.
Ah.
And I bet that was like day one or week one or some promo for their new Avengers Land. But yeah, it's pretty cool. They actually have a live, like they say it's animatronics, but there's a Spider-Man that jumps around there. And it's like, he does a different flip every time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, if he falls and starts screaming about his broken arm, then you know it's not animatronics.
Right? Definitely not.
Yeah, there was actually this circus that came to town. And it was one of those ones that was like, COVID was just letting up, pretty, like everything was opening up all the way again. And my wife just noticed the tent was being, a big top was being put up. And, because the way circuses are now, you can't have animals. So it's just people and like acrobats and stuff. I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and go. it was like springtime, and we get there, and one of the performers comes out, and he did a little video thing of learning how to speak Swahili. A little podcast thing. He's like, hey, you guys want to join me? I'm like, yeah, I'll join you. So we did that, and then we went in, and I didn't realize he was one of the performers. And they actually did a Spider-Man thing with this amazing, like, almost metal version of the Spider-Man theme song. And this person in it was a slightly different, it wasn't like the red with the black stripes. It was more, it wasn't even black with red stripes. It was more blue than anything. And did a whole routine with a rope, like those acrobats with the single rope.
Yeah.
Swinging around, and then did the same thing with cloth. And it was amazing. It's like, that was such a great blend. It's like, I don't know who these guys are, but if I ever see that top again, because their top is very distinct, you bet your ass I'm going again, because they were just great. And their clown, you could tell he was a clown, but he didn't have the clown makeup, but the way he acted and his costume was definitely clown. And the music was great. I mean, he was one of the funniest, most interactive clowns I've ever seen. Because usually clowns are like, okay, it's a clown, haha, funny. There's the pie in the face, there's the seltzer, okay, a bunch of clowns come out of car. No, it's just one dude with just a few props, and he was just funny as hell.
That's awesome. I think I've only been to one circus, and I was like 4, 5, and I remember riding on an elephant for a few minutes.
I got to ride an elephant too.
I was really little though, but I do remember that, and that's all I remember. Is sitting on the back of the elephant, and I didn't even go anywhere. It didn't move. I just got to sit on it.
So I
remember doing that too.
Yeah.
Hey, something we all have in common.
Right? That's funny. I don't even know what state I lived in at the time, because my dad was in the Navy, so I moved a lot. So I have no idea.
I was in the state of childhood.
Once.
Do you have any pictures of Adam on an elephant? Because that'd be awesome.
I don't, because he went with his school to the circus, and they didn't take a picture. I do have a picture of Adam on a longhorn, which is awesome.
Oh, that's cool. I've never seen a longhorn in person.
Oh, they have them out down here, in the stockyards, and they usually have a couple of them out on the sidewalk, and for like $5, you can sit on a longhorn and take a picture.
Hell, I'll pay $5 for that.
Oh, I paid $5 for Adam, and he almost didn't get on it, because the guy who had the longhorn out there, he was like, I don't know if he should get up on there. I don't know if he can do this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why can't he? If I'm telling you that I can help this child get up on this animal and he'll be perfectly safe, what objection do you have for it? I'm taking all the responsibility for it,
Want me to sign a paper that says that I'm liable? Okay.
I asked him that, because I told him, I said, I will. My kid wants to get up on a longhorn. I'm going to let him. And he had the greatest time on the back of that thing. He was waving a cowboy hat around and shouting yippee-ki-yay and all kinds of stuff. Thank goodness he didn't shout the Die Hard yippee-ki-yay, because, yeah. Although if he had, I would have laughed.
That would have been great. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's much more to really cover unless you have anything else.
Did you guys have any more questions? Anything about anything?
I think I got most of mine.
Yeah, I actually didn't think of any questions. I was so busy finding links to stuff and dropping them in different places.
So we really got rolling there, though.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's hard to circle back around once we've been talking about Disneyland for 20 minutes.
Disneyland and circuses and riding on elephants and cows. And
yeah. No, it's I've been over it, and I'm sure there's going to be more that comes through, after, when there's more time and more people come out of the woodwork and say, yeah, that definitely happened to me too. Because I'm hoping that's my main goal, is to get other people out and say that happened and it's not okay. Let's fix it. And that's what I really want, is for enough people to hear me to say, it's safe to say something,
And
Right.
if anybody that's listening is in this situation, feel free to reach out to us. We'll go ahead and let you have your voice, like we did initially. We let you use a pseudonym, so you can keep it as anonymous as you want, but at least you could get your story out.
Yeah, and I wonder, this could be the place where, the person that picked me up for time, the Teak, this is where he could have found me. I don't remember, where he said he found me from, but it could be anything you do. It could be the one that really either changes one person's or a lot of people's lives.
Exactly. And if you make one life better, I mean, honestly, I've always believed it. If I can make one life better on this planet, then I have served a good life.
Right.
Even if I make everybody else's life shitty, I made one person. No. It's got to be a net positive, not a net negative.
I will gladly be that person, because...
Anyway, you were gonna say?
When I did when I did the BBC interview, I felt like really relieved afterwards, because I got to actually say, out loud, like, I love you to my child. And afterwards I was going over that with my husband, and I was like, wow, it's really important for me, because now if I die, there's a way that he can hear my voice tell him that I love him. And that was really big for me. I think that gave me a lot of peace with the situation, because now I'm, it's recorded, it's out there, and he has access to it.
That's awesome. And I hope he finds it.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I sent it to his parents, so.
Well, just because he sent it to his parents doesn't mean that he's going to find it. They'd have to share it to him.
That's very true, huh? You never know these days. I have faith that they're decent people. I don't think that he's going to find it now. I would hope that he gets talked to about it before he finds it, is all, because that would be shocking to try and Google yourself and come up with that.
Right? Be like, yo, Mom? We need to talk.
Right? Well,
I'm just looking at where... I was just kind of quickly glancing around at our listenership and where we're most listened to over the last 30 days. And of course, United States, far and away number 1. Number 2 is India. Number 3 is United Kingdom. And then there's Germany, Israel, New Zealand, and Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
And then I could break down by regions too, like in India. 2, 3, 4, 5 different areas in India are listening.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. It's good, though. I would love it if the rest of the world knew how broken America's adoption system is.
Yeah.
It's not just our politics, it's everything.
But we have really good burgers.
Right? Yeah, we got really good food.
We really do. We have some of the best food on the planet.
And we've got some good national parks.
We actually, I think, were the ones that started the whole national parks thing.
I think Teddy Roosevelt started it.
Did.
Was it Teddy Roosevelt? I thought it was Abraham Lincoln, because I know that Yosemite was by Abraham Lincoln.
I'm not going to try and say I'm right or wrong, because I'm not sure.
We're doing our Google foo here.
Oh, okay.
The National Park Service was founded by Theodore Roosevelt.
Ah, okay. And Yellowstone was the first one.
Yeah.
Yosemite was second.
Oh, okay. Well, guys, if you don't have any more adoption stuff to talk about, I think I'm going to let you go so I can go out and get some food.
Fud. Yeah, I'm hungry too. So yeah, thank you for coming on again. Like, seriously, this fall's been awesome. And you were also saying other podcasts are trying to get you too.
I recorded for Twisted Sisterhood, which is a birth mothers directed podcast a couple weeks ago. I don't think they're out yet. And then the BBC one was also a downloadable podcast.
Yeah.
And I need to remember. There was another one I did, and I can't remember quite what it's called off the top of my head. I'd have to look into my emails. But I did do the Twisted Sisterhood one, and that's supposed to come out pretty in the new year, in January.
Nice.
And then the Newsy article was done by Teak, and that was the video, like a documentary, like a 15-minute documentary.
All right, and I am trying to figure out how I can stream. I can download it. Aha! I am currently downloading your BBC one now, so I can go ahead and hopefully just. Oh, come on! What? Quit Apple Music. Go away, music. Go away, music. I am going to grab that file. It is just an MP3 file. Perfect. And I could just go ahead and play it right over the podcast.
Well,
all right.
I do know that the Twisted Sisterhood podcast is on Spotify. And I am now following them so I can hear your episode when it comes out.
Right on. Good. I will probably avoid hearing it as long as I can, because I'll have to listen to my own voice again.
Oh, I get that. People have asked me, have you listened to your episodes of your podcast that you didn't know?
Nope.
Nope. No, thank you.
Nope. I don't listen to mine. I lived it.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. Well, it was good to talk to you guys. I'll definitely talk to you again soon, I hope.
Sounds good.
Awesome. It's so great to have you back.
Definitely. And and you know what? Tell Brian to start inviting me to shit, fucker.
Okay.
I never get invited to anything. I'm like, my parents get to go. What the fuck?
Right. I'll get on that.
I used to take trips up to that area just to hang out with you guys. Come on.
Right.
Before I got remarried. All right. Well, have a good one. And
all right.
For everybody else, I am going to go ahead and start playing the it's 17 minutes and 29 seconds. And then we'll end it after that. So until then.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. And so we'll just go ahead and say, hey, if you want to help us out, mimental.net/donate. It's back up again. Number of ways you can donate. Honestly, that helps out a lot. Every penny we get goes right back into the podcast. Share episodes. That's probably the best way you could help us, especially ones that you think will resonate with other people. We also have merchandise. Check it out and buy some stuff. Hey, guess what? It's cold and flu season again. We have masks.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
and they're pretty awesome.
I like mine. I had to go through two because one accidentally got thrown away by mistake when I was cleaning the car. So I had to get another one.
That's all right. And also, if you're out there and you're interested in becoming a guest, just shoot us an email at guest@mimental.net. Exactly.
And if you're worried about, the fact that I don't always send out blasts to everybody, say, hey, come listen. You know what? Get on your phone, set an alarm, set it weekly. That's probably, that's how I do it. To remind me, exactly. Oh yeah, my podcast starts in 40 minutes. I better hurry up and get ready for it.
Yep, I have the same alarm on my phone. It's like, it's almost time. Let's go.
Exactly. All right, so everyone have a good one. And here is why private adoption is big business in the U.S. from BBC World Service.
Hello and welcome to Business Daily with me, Ivana Davidovich. In today's program, the spotlight is on the private adoption industry in the United States. An estimated 1 million American families are looking to adopt, and many of them want newborns. An increasing number of voices are calling for a much larger oversight of this $19 billion industry.
Agencies, it's like they prey on vulnerable women. You know, you come in and you're scared and you're not sure if you can do this and you don't have support, and they say, oh, you definitely can't do that. Let's get you the real help for your baby.
So far, the industry has largely avoided federal regulation, but that may well start to change from next year. Campaigners believe that social media giants should be a part of that effort.
The issue of advertising kids on the internet, I personally feel that it needs to stop. I think in terms of private adoption, we need to shut down these secret Facebook groups like yesterday.
That's all coming up in Business Daily from the BBC.
I'm Cheyenne Klupp, and I'm a stay-at-home mom right now. I'm also a foster parent for the state of California. We have 3 biological kids at home. I have my 4th child. When we talk about my home kids, I don't include him because it can be confusing. I think that's about all.
Cheyenne Klupp was 20 years old when she met her boyfriend in 2009. Within weeks, they had married, and within months, she was pregnant. But a sudden change of circumstances made her consider putting her baby up for adoption.
My child was born 11 years ago. I was young. I was like 20 when I met his dad. I fell in love really fast, and I was just so excited to have a family. And it all came crashing down after he turned out not to be who he said he was. He's a dangerous criminal. And I started looking into the adoption.
She decided to have the baby adopted, but at 35 weeks pregnant, Cheyenne started having some doubts about whether she wanted to continue with the process. She contacted her advisor from the agency which was handling her case to discuss her options.
And I asked her, what happens if I keep my baby? I've, been thinking, and I kind of want to keep him. And she said, well, the adoptive parents have paid so much money into this that they would just take you to court and sue you for the money. So, maybe you should consider that before you say anything to anybody else. And I was just so shaken up that I just stood and stared. At the time, I had no idea that I would have been available for any kind of welfare. It feels to me that the agency deliberately kept that information from me.
Cheyenne was in labor for 3 days and almost died. Eventually, the doctors made a decision she should have a cesarean. When she came around from the anesthetic in the hospital, she asked to see her son.
They brought a social worker and the adoptive parents to my visit with him. And the adoptive parents brought paperwork back to me to have me sign because they wouldn't let them leave. That was only less than 24 hours after the birth. So I was still extremely confused, and I was on a lot of hospital drugs. I signed, though, and they left within 48 hours of the birth, and I have never seen my son again.
When Cheyenne recovered from the stress of birth, she couldn't shake the uncomfortable feeling that she had been pressurized into having her child adopted. Years later, as an adoption reform advocate, she searched online for any information she could find about her child and his adoptive parents. She stumbled upon a blog in which one of the couple who had adopted her child wrote about their alcohol addiction and how they managed to overcome it, all after the adoption had taken place. Cheyenne was devastated.
I have no hard feelings towards the people that are raising my son. I am so glad that they don't have any addiction issues anymore and they're recovered, and that's wonderful. But the agency has done an immense disservice to myself and my son by claiming, you're going to do a great thing and you're giving a baby to somebody who can't take care of it. Well, you can't. As a birth parent, I'm in a lot of support groups. There are very, very few women that I've talked to or spoken to that have given their children up for adoption who don't later regret it because they realized that their situation was temporary and they just needed a little bit of welfare or a little help or something. Instead, these agencies, it's like they prey on vulnerable women. You know, you come in and you're scared and you're not sure if you can do this and you don't have support, and they say, oh, you definitely can't do that. Let's get you the real help for your baby. And they take the love that you have for your own child and use it against you by telling you, well, you can give them better if you just sacrifice yourself.
I'm Isaiah and I'm adopted. I'm Maddie and I'm adopted. My name is Mina and I'm adopted.
My name is Destiny and I'm adopted.
Turn the unplanned into a loving plan. If you're facing an unplanned pregnancy, text or call.
At any given time, an estimated 1 million American families are looking to adopt, and not many want an older child. That figure dramatically outpaces the number of available babies in the country. Some turn to international adoption, although a few countries have stopped these programs with the US. There's also the option to adopt from the foster care system, where children are taken away from birth parents due to abuse or neglect. That process is slow and not many babies are available. And so for those with money, in the US, you can turn to private adoption.
My name is Maureen Flatley, and I'm an expert in oversight and reform of adoption and child welfare. And I have been doing this work for roughly 25 years. To the extent that the U.S. has begun to federally regulate adoption, I have been an architect of most of that legislation. The last piece of the puzzle is this private adoption problem, and I'm working on that right now. Private adoption is when an individual who is pregnant, who cannot or does not want to parent her child, makes a decision to work with an agency or a third party to place the child in another family, but completely voluntarily. And so it's in the private system. The child is not in the custody of the state. There is no finding of abuse or neglect against the parent. There's no termination of parental rights involuntarily. So should be a completely voluntary experience.
Many advocates say they would like to see big reforms to private adoption in the US. What few changes have been made are generally aimed at making the process easier for adoptive parents, who experts say tend to have more political and financial clout than birth parents. While the industry is worth an estimated $19 billion, there are increasing calls to move towards a not-for-profit model. For Maureen Flatley, one of the key demands is much greater federal oversight.
If you were to go to buy a car, and I use this analogy very deliberately, you would have more information about what your legal rights were, how much which things cost, than if you want to bring a new human being into your family. And so the federal government in this country regulates everything. But this is one thing that has eluded that kind of federal oversight and involvement. There's been this sort of kind of careful campaign by sort of the adoption industry, if you will, for many, many years, to convince lawmakers that having federal rules for adoption would be horrible for adoption, that it would destroy adoption. We have a constellation of state laws that are in existence but aren't actually being enforced anyway. And then you have the ascendance of what we call third-party operators who are not licensed. So you can have a licensed attorney who's licensed in one state, an adoption agency who's licensed in one state. But we're seeing more and more that even those people, because of the internet, because of their websites, are operating across state lines. Then you have people who are not licensed in any way operating in sort of a national framework. What you have is an increasingly troubling scenario where birth parents are effectively coerced into relinquishing their children. You know, more and more we see that oftentimes it's an economic decision. And so, you kind of have to look at the ethical issues of, in the absence of abuse or neglect, you really want this to be a transaction that's fully voluntary and that's transparent. And so, are there good agencies out there? Of course there are. But at the end of the day, there's the money. And you have increasing and astronomical fees unregulated almost completely. You have agencies who are now routinely telling the families that come to them to set up their own websites, their own Instagram feeds. So the question in my mind would be, if the adoption agency is actually having the adoptive parents do the marketing for them, why would you need the agency?
We live in a 2-bedroom townhouse with our puppy, Gaiden. He is a border collie mix. He's about a year old, and he's so energetic and friendly. I'm a Catholic school teacher.
I'm a data scientist.
We've been married for 2 years, and I've been a teacher for the last 10 years, and I love it.
One of our favorite parts of our home is our backyard.
We've got a lot of nieces and nephews that are in the area, and whenever they visit, that's the first place they take off to. So you do the work to have it be a place so that people can go and enjoy.
This is just a tiny selection of online video adverts from prospective adoptive parents who hope to catch the eye of a pregnant woman looking to give her child up for adoption. Mary and her husband John from Ohio, who have asked me not to use their real names to protect their privacy, adopted an infant girl in 2013 with the help of an agency. Although Mary tells me she was very satisfied with their work and due diligence, the final cost rose to an incredible $70,000, although the average in the country is closer to $25,000. Now they would like to adopt again, but in a different way.
It's mainly the cost factor. It's just a little bit too much. And so we tried to put our profile online. We did have a Instagram account, and we also tried a couple of other online advertising agencies. And so that's kind of where we are right now. That started about a little over a year ago. There are also some Facebook accounts anyways, where there are groups that will allow you to post a little blurb about yourself about once a month, so that anyone who may be interested in finding an adoptive family could join these groups and, scroll through and see if there are any families that they may want to talk to further. But, it's not necessarily regulated. We've actually had a whole bunch of emails from people who are already adults from countries around the world saying, will you please adopt me? I am 20 years old and I need to get out of this country. It's just that seemed to be a lot of the messages that we would get. We're seeing where it takes us. There are so many different groups, a lot of people who start to write horrible, this did not happen to us, but other people writing horrible comments on other posts. That's a lot of stress that I don't think is very productive.
As the adoption industry migrated to social media, regretful adoptees and birth mothers have sometimes been confronting prospective parents with their personal pain and anger. For Maureen Flatley, the possibility of direct, unsupervised contact between prospective and birth parents is of serious concern.
The internet has really made this the Wild West. We look at things like secret rooms on Facebook. You have the practice of encouraging birth parents and adoptive parents to meet directly. So these secret rooms on Facebook are of some tremendous concern to me. These children are not cars. They're not airplanes. They're human beings. And the way that they are being sort of traded is crazy.
For Cheyenne Klopp, adoption reform cannot come quickly enough.
The infant adoption industry needs eradicated completely. There should not be anyone privately owning a business that deals with gaining money where human lives are concerned. Some states have started making it illegal to sign in the hospital. I know that California has much better laws than when I was in Oregon. I know someone who did an adoption. The counselor was wonderful. Do you need help? Do you want to keep your baby? Do you need welfare? And that's not the norm, and it should be.
Maureen Flatley is preparing for a very busy 2022. She hopes to see some of the proposals she's working on finally become law. Her plans may be somewhat less radical than Cheyenne's, but if accepted, they could usher in a comprehensive overhaul of the private adoption industry in the US.
I don't think it should be abolished. I probably have, over the years, contemplated the notion that it should be nationalized. But at the same time, practically speaking, I just don't think that our public sector is positioned to do it adequately and to do it effectively.
So very concretely, what would you like to see happen? What is on your hit list of the things that you would like to see change?
So these are all things rolling out in January of 2022. The number one thing we want to do is communicate with the state attorneys general to talk to them about enforcing existing rules. In the discussion of banning rehoming, and there's a federal rule about that moving in Congress right now, which we hope will pass this year, it does explicitly forbid advertising kids to be rehomed on the internet. I think in terms of private adoption, we need to shut down these secret Facebook groups like yesterday. These groups are a recipe for disaster for all the parties. If we can license adoption agencies to operate abroad, which the State Department does, we can license adoption agencies nationally to operate across state lines. I mean, we're giving consumers in foreign countries more choices than we're giving consumers here. We really need to have a single scheme in terms of what the rules are.
Back in California, Shan often thinks about her firstborn and if she would ever have a chance to meet him. She hopes that if that day arrives, her advocacy work will prove to him that he never left her thoughts.
I'll reach out to him, as soon as I can. But I do want him to take the lead because ultimately I was pressured but still made a poor choice, and it's not his fault for the way things worked out. None of this is on him, and I don't want him to feel responsible for my emotions. I just want him to know that I did love him, and I do love him, and I would love to have him back in my life. But, like this interview, I hope that he knows that it wasn't meant to hurt him. It was meant to find him and let him know, I care. I love you, and this is wrong, and I won't let this happen to anyone else.
Shan Klopp ending this edition of Business Daily. That's it for today. Until next time, thanks for listening.